Did you know that since 2019, Instagram has reported that they have 500,000 influencers? Do you know what an Instagram influencer even is? Or that they get paid to advertise? You see, an influencer is someone that has over 1,000 followers. They are typically reached out to by brands such as Nordstrom, Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, sometimes even websites like Amazon, small boutiques. I'm familiar with The Little Red Dress and Pink Lily. And they send out free samples to these influencers who then typically do things such as try on sessions, talk about sales, talk about their top picks, things that are must-haves for them, and then they go ahead and showcase these things within their Instagram stories and even within Instagram photos. Typically there is a link provided. If you're in Instagram stories, you're able to swipe up and it'll take you directly to the website. Otherwise, if it is a picture that is posted on Instagram directly, you are able to find a link in the bio. These links, when you use them to shop directly, these influencers actually make a commission based off of that. This is advertising in 2020. This is only going to grow and expand. This is very new and it's just getting started, but this is how companies and brands are able to reach the younger generations these days. Albert actually shared in A Brief History of American Advertising that advertising can actually be traced back to Europe, which really makes sense because most of the settlers in America, especially in the beginning, did originate from Europe, so that was something they brought with them. When those things were brought in, a lot of advertising was just kind of posted at the central of town and it would just kind of look like a little ad. However, over the years, America is known for transforming advertising, for creating radio, and then later even television advertisements. There was a time where people didn't have TVs, and for them to be able to hear stories, which now to us would be television shows, they had to turn on the radio. And they just kind of sat around as a family and they would listen to these stories. This is where advertisements came in because the stories would go on to commercial breaks or in between stories where people were able to pay to advertise something in that time slot. Same thing as television came along and as networks and broadcasting grew, advertisements became more popular. And now we see them on Hulu, we see them on Netflix. They're not necessarily always the same origin. For example, on Netflix, you don't typically see advertisements that are for toilet paper or toothbrushes, but they are centered around other shows on Netflix. Something to remember about advertisements is that they are necessary, even if they come across as annoying. The importance of advertising truly comes from the way things are paid. When a company takes a time slot of 30 seconds to advertise something, that is how TV shows get paid to be made. That's how TV movies get paid. That's how Netflix makes money. Yes, we still pay for those things, but we don't pay enough for it to cover how much TV, how much networks and things such as Netflix, Hulu, and even Amazon Prime, how much they show and how much they put into their shows and movies and how much they release every year. Those fees that we're paying are not enough to cover that. We're paying to watch them. The advertisements are paying for those to be broadcasted. Kind of the same concept with YouTube or even social media such as Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, when these things are free to us, well, we pay for internet services, we pay for cell phone devices, we're still not actually paying for social media itself. So YouTube has these advertisements and uses them in order to cover their costs, so that we're actually able to use YouTube or Facebook or social media for free. What typically is a problem for a lot of people is that when you sign up for Facebook or Instagram, or even if you create a YouTube account, what happens is at the end, before your account is finalized, you have to agree to terms. Most people do not read the terms. You just click the box and you click agree, and you have your account. However, those terms outline a lot of things, such as that you are agreeing for these social media places to collect your information. They collect your search history, they collect what you are watching on YouTube, what you're liking on Instagram, who you're following on Facebook, and they use all those different things to advertise to you. So most of these advertisements are specifically set for you. A lot of times I'm gonna Google something and then I'll go on Facebook afterwards, and after scrolling a couple times, there's a whole ad about it. The same thing I just Googled. Personally, I don't mind it. I understand that this is how advertisement works. This is how social media works. I am not someone where I'm going to pay to use YouTube. I'm not going to pay to use Facebook. I appreciate those things being free to me, and I understand that there's things that I agree to in the terms, even though I didn't read them, that are out of kind of my control. A lot of this also just comes down to what's ethically right and what's unethical. And it kind of also then comes down to your own perspective. Our government doesn't have a lot of laws in place to prevent these things from happening. Yes, sometimes these websites collect information that is not necessary to them, that is not necessary for advertisements. It doesn't serve a lot of purpose, such as Facebook collecting your GPS data. But that is one of the things that you agree to. And it really just comes down to, do you want to use the social media app or do you not? Because right now we just don't have stricter restrictions. What is happening right now and what is noticed a lot is that people are personally taking up these cases in court, which is actually causing a lot of the newest laws to be placed out. But as expressed, internet is still so new. Even though to me it's been around my whole life, it's still so new to the world. We don't have all the rules for it. We don't have all the laws for it. It hasn't been around long enough. Will these things change over time? Of course. The laws will get stricter. Social media will become harder to use. It'll become harder to navigate. We're probably going to reach a time where we will have to pay a fee to use certain things. I think as of right now, we need to work on being grateful that we're able to use something so powerful as the internet to expand our knowledge, to grow businesses. I think you need to read terms and agreements. If you're not able to read them on the direct website, which all the websites have them right there if you look for them, you can always look up like shorter versions by Googling them, where it kind of just hits the main points. If you're not okay with them, you're going to have to make that choice between whether it's more important that Facebook knows where you are right now, or whether it's more important that you're using Facebook to connect with your family in another country, or that you are using Instagram to run a business, or using Twitter to build up your own voice. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.